Thank you very much, Madam Chair, Madam Under Secretary General, Mr. High Representative, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. It's really a true honor and privilege to address you at this conference, which is more than timely, and I'm quite grateful to the organizers that they let this conference happen even in a very busy time of the United Nations. I also would like to extend my appreciation to those high-rank officials and experts and diplomats who also share with us their opinions and views. Ladies and gentlemen, we gathered here to discuss the importance of building trust and understanding throughout the world by encouraging respect and understanding for religious and cultural diversity. The UN has long recognized that all cultures and civilizations contribute to the enrichment of humankind. In its decisions, the UN General Assembly has repeatedly called for tolerance, respect, dialogue and cooperation among different cultures, civilizations and peoples. Hungary is deeply committed to the promotion of cultural diversity on both the national and international levels. In this context, the Hungarian government decided to put a special focus on this topic in its foreign policy. The UNESCO Universal Declaration on Cultural Diversity reaffirms the international community's conviction that intercultural dialogue is the best guarantee of peace. It raises cultural diversity to the level of the, I quote, the common heritage of humanity, end quote, which should be recognized and affirmed for the benefit of present and future generations. It also adds that cultural diversity is, I quote again, as necessary for humankind as biodiversity is for nature, end quote, and thus makes its defense an ethical imperative. Yet today we witness the proliferation of conflicts based on culture and religion in many regions of the world. Hungary shares the view that promotion of peaceful and inclusive societies is an essential condition to prevent the spread of violent extremism in our communities. We believe that the promotion of interreligious and intercultural dialogue and respect for cultural diversity play a central role in tackling the challenge of radicalization and building peaceful and resilient societies. Young people are the most vulnerable to radicalization by violent extremist groups. Terrorist groups like the so-called Islamic State have developed elaborate communication strategies to lure marginalized young people with their propaganda. The hate speech spread by extremist groups across the world with the help of modern communication technologies poses a serious challenge for the international community. The media has a huge potential to fight violent extremism by targeting the youth with messages of tolerance and respect for cultural diversity. By challenging stereotypes and xenophobic attitudes, the media can influence the perceptions and cultural identity of our youth and eliminate the ignorance that breeds extremism and violence. In this context, we welcome the collaboration between the UNAOC and the relevant bodies and entities within the UN system in their efforts to prevent violent extremism. We believe that our Alliance of Civilizations annual Plural Plus video festival, which invites the world's youth to submit creative videos focusing on diversity, is a good example in this regard, and encourage the Alliance to continue to rely on social media in its efforts to spread the messages of tolerance, diversity and inclusion. Hungary traditionally attaches great importance to the promotion and protection of the rights of persons belonging to national, ethnic, religious and linguistic minorities. Minorities should be presented in the political decision-making on both the local and national levels. Hungary is deeply concerned about the emerging phenomenon of violent atrocities against autochthonous religious minorities, including Christian churches. Article 18 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights obliges us, the international community, to act in concert and effectively in order to stop violence against religious communities. We support the international efforts to stop the activities of the so-called Islamic State, and we hope that peace will be restored and that persecuted Christian and other religious communities will be able to return to their homes. As part of this effort, Hungary has recently informed the Iraqi authorities that we stand ready to participate in any international effort to save and restore ancient cultural heritage destroyed in Iraq and in Syria in the most barbaric fashion. Religions bear an enormous potential to facilitate peaceful and fruitful coexistence of communities and to help preserve cultural diversity, which is a universal value. But religious sentiments can unfortunately be misused, manipulated and distorted. In this respect, we believe that religious leaders and communities can contribute significantly to promoting tolerance and reconciliation. We must build on the inner potential of the respective religions to promote healing and reconciliation. We must enter into a sincere dialogue with religious bodies, and we must promote deep and honest dialogue between different religious traditions in order to facilitate the reconciliation of people in different faiths. Let me turn very briefly to the second topic of today's seminar, which is in the role of culture in sustainable development. As a member state moved to adopt the new Sustainable Development Agenda in just a few days, we believe it is important to emphasize the role of culture as both an enabler and a driver of sustainable development. Culture has a potential to contribute to sustainable development in many ways. Let me just name a few examples. Safeguarding cultural heritage produces economic and social benefits by promoting tourism. Cultural and creative industries diversify our economies by promoting innovation and supporting small and medium-sized enterprises. Respect for cultural diversity and the promotion of intercultural dialogue enhance solidarity, tolerance, and social cohesion. As a co-chair of the Open Working Group on Sustainable Development Goals, Hungary worked with the UN member states to ensure that the future Sustainable Development Goals explicitly recognize the link between culture and sustainable development. In this respect, we would like to recognize the work of the Group of Friends on Culture and Development, and in particular the work done by Peru as the chair of the group in promoting the inclusion of culture in the Sustainable Development Agenda. As a result of our joint efforts, the new Sustainable Development Framework acknowledges the natural and cultural diversity of the world and recognizes that all cultures and civilizations can contribute to sustainable development. In addition, several SDGs reflect the cross-cutting nature of culture as an enabler and a driver of sustainable development. Ladies and gentlemen, let me conclude by wishing you a fruitful discussion in the upcoming panel discussions, and thank you very much for your kind attention.